Oh yeah, thanks you guys. I appreciate you taking the time to have me on here.
I think it's pretty cool what you guys are doing.
Very good questions and what a lot of research.
This is cool.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
Thank you for having me.
I really appreciate you guys asking me to be a part of this.
That was too cool, bro. And I was between shifts. I'm between shifts right now. I think I'm gonna be between shifts the rest of my life.
What's up, friends of the show, and welcome back to the Between Shifts podcast. Today we have a guest that I was lucky enough to have around all of middle school, and he was lucky enough to not have to deal with me in high school. I could say so many great things about his achievements, but more importantly, I want to say how his optimistic positivity radiates in every room he walks into. He's the type of person you only meet once in your lifetime, and everybody needs a person around them, just like our guest today, Mr. John Nazar.
Well, thank you.
Mr. Nazar.
Yeah.
Even my mom called you Mr. Nazar today.
I feel bad for calling you John now.
No, it's good. It's good. You worked your way up.
What is that? What's that progression like when you see a kid all through school and then all of a sudden they're calling you John years later?
Yeah, you know, it's that's interesting. Still, some people, no, I can't. And they're mature. And I gotta still call you Mr. Nazar. But I just hope, as they turn to adults, it's really cool that you move from, student to like friend, and could be a colleague, because a lot of our my ex-students are we're working at the high school, and so it's I don't know if there's any like dividing line, but it's pretty cool.
It's just something you got to feel out. It's a vibe thing, right?
Yeah, and I always try to encourage them. Just call me John. You know. I always say, like, when you're back in school, no, you call me Mr. Nazar. Yeah. And then when they graduate, now you call me John.
You're like, you win. You guys got your diploma.
You guys listening or viewing, you don't realize how you hear this guy talk every morning in high school, and he just gets you fired up for the day.
So you had something that you would say at the end of the announcements every day, and I forget every time. But what was that?
Yeah. So. I started it actually at Cunha, and I took it when I went to for 5 years over the hill at Tierra Linda. But then when I came back to Half Moon Bay High School as principal, I made sure it was, so I try to get on every day, the announcements, because I just wanted some way that I could try to connect with the students. They hear my voice, know what I'm thinking, what's going on. Sometimes we talk about something serious. Sometimes I'm just kind of joking around or giving out prizes for some kind of raffle or whatever. But I'd always try to say, at the end of the time, work hard, be kind to one another, have a great day. And
that was crisp.
That's such a great. Yeah.
Well, it's just that's what I'm hoping every student got out of their day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, my brother would come home, because I didn't have you as a principal in the high school, and he would come home and he'd be like, "Yeah, Mr. Nazar, he says, work hard, be kind to one another, and have a great day," and that's what I'm going to do. And he would say it. I was like, "Oh, okay." Something got through to him.
You can live your motto by that.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, can you tell us a little bit about where you grew up?
Yeah. So I was born and raised San Francisco, and kind of in the southwestern part, right by San Francisco State, Stonestown Shopping Center. In fact, I just went there last weekend. I hadn't been there in 30 years. And what a transformation. When I was growing up there, it was an open, single-level mall. So you'd walk like outdoors, and then the stores were on the sides.
Okay.
And the main store was the Emporium down at the end. And like at Christmas time, they'd have like these, what they call roof rides. Like you go up to the roof, and they'd have like Ferris wheels and all those kind of things.
What? On the roof?
On the roof of the Emporium.
Because a normal Ferris wheel just isn't high enough.
No, they put them on the roof at Christmas. And then Santa Claus would be there, like get to talk to Santa. And so I grew up right there. And went to the local schools, Commodore Sloat Elementary School, Aptus Junior High School, because we had junior high in those days, not like middle school. It's like elementary was K through 6, and then junior high was 7 through 9, and then high school, I went to Lowell High School 10 through 12. So, it was, I have to say, it was a great childhood, a lot of freedom back in those days. My mom would say, okay, just be home by dark. And, there was nobody, no one's going to call you. There's no cell phones or whatnot. So you could, just do whatever you want. Like, we get on our bikes sometimes, like, hey, we're little kids. We're going to ride over to Sausalito, and go across the bridge and, ride into, then you have to ride like back up that hill. It's like, oh man, that's
a hell of a ride.
That was tough.
Yeah. I can't imagine what the roads were like back then. Or like, was there a...
we had roads, it wasn't that old. I mean,
The Golden Gate was dirt.
Like even now, Sausalito, like going down the hill, it's still like there's just that much room for every car going past. Like it's still sketchy now, even to ride a bike over there. I can't imagine what it was like then.
Yeah, so I've been, so we can go. San Francisco State was right across the street, and go over there, and just you can mess around. In those days, I remember computers were just kind of, I guess, coming about in the late '60s, and going in there and. You could buy like for, I think, a dime or something, a pack of these cards that have these holes in them. And I guess that's how they would read the computer. We just used to get the cards and send it through this giant. You just watch the cards go through all these like tracks. Like,
That's
this
fun.
is cool. And we had no idea what we're doing, but no one would stop you.
Yeah.
It was a good place to grow up, and a lot of freedom. Probably a lot different than might be today, but really enjoyable.
Yeah,
Sounds like it was
City
really
kid through and
enjoyable.
through.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what kind of parenting style did your parents have when you were growing up?
I would say super supportive. I was really fortunate. My mom and dad were just awesome. My dad was a long-time teacher. He taught in the city of Richmond. He commuted over there every day for 43 years. I mean, he was, he kind of influenced me in a lot of ways, because he told me on a number of occasions, I never had a bad day teaching. I had hard days. A lot of hard days, but never had a bad day teaching. And I mean, I probably think he took maybe 5-6 days off ever in his career. I mean, he just go and, sometimes, some of the schools, and his main school was John F. Kennedy High School, and they had some issues over there, but he loved the students and loved what he was teaching. And so, my dad was always like, kind of the rock. He was always there, went to all of my games, my sister's games, my brother's games. If there's anything going on, he was always, part of it. And my mom was very much the optimistic, always go for it. She was not so much like, if it was a sport, she just loved us playing it. She didn't know anything about the sports, but, always had her support. And, just... their parenting style, I think, was kind of a little bit, set good guidelines. I learned a lot through how they behaved, and I respected them even when I was even in high school, and I didn't want to let them down too much. So I mean, I do some stuff, but I didn't want to disappoint my dad or my mom.
Yeah. Were they heavy enforcers?
I know at times, they'll, when it's appropriate, they would, but most of the time, they set this is the guidelines, this is our expectations, and you break them, then you understand that there's consequences, and but they never held it against you. It's like, there was always love there, and that's one thing I always took from my career was I could be, kid comes in, they do something, and getting after them, but at the end of time, okay, you got your consequence. We talked it through. Next day, it's a new day.
Yeah.
Let's start again. I'm not going to hold that against you. You're going to make mistakes when you're young. That's why we have laws for kids versus adults. They're going to make mistakes. We teach them, and I think that's how I was brought up. And I felt it worked well for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it sounds like they led by example.
A lot.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, we know the Junipero Serra playground played a lot in your childhood. What kind of freedom did you and your brother have there?
Well, so that is a playground. We always called it the park. We're going to go down the park. And, as soon as I get home from school, starting in early elementary, all the way through high school, it was always like, as soon as I get home, there'd be a little something for food, and then off to the park. And we'd be down there till, it got dark, or like 6:30 around dinner time. And I mean, that's where we basically, I mean, there was a lot of guidance. And so in those days, the playgrounds in San Francisco had directors. So Lynn was the primary director. She had been there for many years, and then they usually have a secondary director. And some of those people became some of my closest friends. In fact, I was the best man, and Chuck Contreras. We're still friends to this day. He was a director, and we just and we're still greatest friends. He's like a brother to me, and and. The cool thing was, like, whatever season it was, if we're down there playing, if it's baseball season, we play a lot of strikeouts. It's like with a tennis ball and it has like a square on the wall. And that was our game, man. That was the big. We had these tournaments in the summer, and that was big. But
did you guys ever play Butts Up?
Not to know. I
Dude,
know
Butts Up was the shit. It was so fun.
Elementary, that was huge for us. Yeah.
That was like you play Butts Up, and if you throw the ball against the wall and it comes off the wall, whoever tries to catch it, if they bobble it and drop it, they have to run and touch the wall quicker than somebody can pick up the ball, throw it, and hit it against the wall. And if they beat you, the guy that didn't touch the wall fast enough would have to go butts up against the wall. Oh, and the other guy that got him would just boom.
I'm thinking now. So, like, when I was young, like when I was at elementary school, we played a lot of kickball, and then so like when you're the youngest kids, first through third grade, were on the upper level lot at my elementary, and then when you got to fourth through sixth grade, you got the lower lot, and you switch the game from we play handball in fourth grade, and then fifth grade, the coolest game was called Pinky. You had like this little pink ball. It was hollow on the inside with rubber, and you hit it with your fist, and it was like baseball. It was a game. It was
that sounds like fun.
And so at lunchtime we'd have our class tournaments, and then your fifth grade year, the championship team played against the sixth grade all-stars at the end of the year. It was big. It was big. But going back to the playground, so whatever season it was, they'd have teams. We'd go play against all the other parks in the city. So if it was football season, they played. I think we had 6-person 2-hand touch.
And they would actually like bus you to different parks. And
no, you just so the director would cram in his car or something like that. Sometimes you take the bus. Maybe a parent might show up, but most time either you took the bus or you just all wedged into the director's car.
So did the director like coordinate everything, or was this like a
Oh wow!
It was a city employee.
Yeah. They all work for the city of San Francisco, and then so like we'd play, basketball season, play basketball, it wasn't really touch football. It was except for there's no pads. It was just downfield blocking. Ridiculous. But it was so much fun. We got to the city championship twice and lost the same dang park both times. But whether it's baseball, basketball, all the sports, soccer.
That's really cool.
That was my only experience.
We should bring that back. That'd be fun.
Oh, it's great.
I mean, Half Moon Bay, granted, we'd have to have one park team, but we could travel.
But the city's got like every district. I mean, there's got to be a park in the marina. There's parks everywhere.
Yeah, I don't know how many. I bet there's at least 30, 40, because you'd have 2 divisions.
It was the biggest competition.
Well, in football, we lost to this park called Upper Noe, and they were better than us.
The rich kids.
No. And then basketball. I can't remember who was. We were not that good at basketball. Was it baseball? We had a pretty good baseball team.
Each park kind of had their own sport that they were good at.
Yeah, just depending on what kids hung out there.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Would you say, like, is that something from your childhood that you'd say sticks with you today?
Oh, yeah.
Shapes who you are?
Yeah. In fact, we had a JS reunion about 2 years ago there. All of us, like a big group of us.
You guys had a park reunion? That's so cool.
We're just, So we played strikeouts here. I'm on my 60-something-year-old firing this tennis ball. Like, oh, man.
That's classic.
and, we had tennis court. It was cool. It's a small park, but it was a great park. A lot of great people, like so some made it. Some pretty good in sports. Stephen Weaver, he was ended up pitching for the Yankees, and Alonzo Powell played professionally for many years in Japan, and was the hitting coach of the Giants a couple years ago.
Wow,
Bochy's last year.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Every sixth grader's got a torn rotator cuff.
Punch a pink ball.
The weirdest thing is, I don't know, maybe this, because you grow up that way. I don't know I don't know anyone that got seriously injured, like arm. It's not like today. I see kids, arms are dragging. We throw game after game after game after game. I don't know.
Now you have like freshmen in high school getting Tommy John surgery.
Yeah, that's brutal, dude.
No more black coffee and cigarettes.
That is a life-changing surgery, though.
Yeah. Every surgery.
It's crazy that freshmen in high school are getting that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Was that park that was on 19th Avenue that had the jet? Do you remember that?
Yeah, that was
farther north, but
that was a little
jet?
It had a legit jet in it.
Yeah,
it was
a legit jet.
Yeah.
I mean, it stripped all the guts out of it.
Oh, and they turned the jet into a park.
So
that's cool.
You could climb. It's Larson Park. That's where the swimming pool was. Today it's called Charlie Sava Pool. In those days, I think it was, I forget what it was, but they had this, some kind of fighter jet.
Yeah.
They gutted it all out, and you could crawl through it, like where I guess the stuff is. And now they have like
It's a fake one, yeah.
Yeah, it's like concrete or something like that.
It's like a molded one, but it was a legit like decommissioned jet that was sitting in the park that you could play with until it was like in the 90s they got rid of it.
Probably took one person getting scraped on the steel or whatever it's made out of, and
or
then they were
burnt on it, because on a hot day, which is not a whole lot.
That's true too.
You get it's like
it was someone's scout project to change it out. So speaking of scouts, you were also in the scouts.
Yeah, that was another huge, great part of my life and influence. So scouting, I had this, I was just so blessed. I had this amazing person as my scoutmaster, Larry Teixeira, one of my role models in life. And he just had this. He was a teacher. Well, he was originally a school counselor, ended up as longtime principal at Burlingame High School, and then ran their adult school for many, many, many years. And we really got reconnected when I got into administration again, or actually when I came back to Half Moon Bay, or came to Half Moon Bay in '95. We always stayed in some kind of contact, and then we really got in. Then he got me involved in my professional organization because he was very involved in it. But he was such a great leader and role model. Our troop in fact, I was the youngest group. He was going to phase the troop out. He was going to get out of it. He was married, he was going to have children, all those things, and he couldn't find anybody that he felt could take over that troop. We had all these people that, achieved Eagle Scout. Scouting was big in that troop. And, very formal. We all always dressed, and everyone dressed, uniform checks and everything like that. And it meant a lot to him. And because it did to him, it did to us. And so he exposed us to so many things. In fact, that troop, when I achieved Eagle Scout, that was the last year, and then the troop disbanded, but we still stayed together as a group. And we do, there's actually a nonprofit organization through that, through our troop, so trying to do some good things still to this day. And there's, so many prominent people part of that troop. And but Larry was the heart and soul of it. Unfortunately, he passed away a couple years ago. But when my dad passed, he really took on another role, and it was really cool.
What age were you when your dad passed?
I was teaching at Orville High, and it was 80. Must have been 84.
Okay.
So I was 34.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And was Larry Teixeira, was he from Half Moon Bay? Do you know?
No.
Okay.
There's
That's my
there's
uncle.
Portuguese everywhere.
That's my uncle's name. Larry Teixeira. I was like, oh, no way. This
It
is
was
going to
your
be kind of
uncle.
crazy.
No, he was born and raised and lived in San Francisco, even though he worked down
Gotcha.
in Burlingame.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
So
Might have been a cousin.
it
I
could
don't
have.
know.
There's a lot of Portuguese in
Yeah.
that area. But you were an Eagle Scout.
Yes.
But do you remember what the project was that you did? I mean, that's a huge deal when you finally get to do your big thing at the end, right? When you get your Eagle status, right?
Yeah, it was, it turned out to be a really, really cool project. I was a little hesitant to do it, but the more I thought about it, the more I took it on. I worked, there was this, I can't even remember what it's called. Behind San Francisco Zoo, there was a big center for developmentally challenged and disabled youth and adults. And I volunteered the entire summer, take them on trips, swimming, all those kind of things. So I did it every day. And it was kind of cool because when I got my Eagle Scout at the regional level, I was recognized at this dinner, and they had me sit at the front table because they felt like this project's not okay. We're going to build a shack or something like that, or
Put
which
up
are
a
cool.
bench or something.
Yeah, a bench, or this was something that's affecting people, and you dedicated the entire summer to it. So it was a really, really cool one because you learn about empathy and thoughtfulness, and how to kind of appreciate what I had, being healthy growing up, and the challenges that some of my age group or older were facing. And I learned. See, the weird thing about teaching is you end up learning more than what you always think. I'm going to give all this stuff to the kids or whatever.
Yeah.
But you end up getting so much more back, and that was a piece of that.
Yeah. Well, that project sounds like the most you project ever. Like you could have built a bench, but it was. I mean, you're so empathetic. That's the perfect.
Yeah, and I'm not a good builder, so that bench would have lasted very long.
Well, how did your dad was a teacher for over 40 years? How did that influence you growing up? And I mean, is that why you ended up going into teaching?
Yeah, I think partially. When I was growing up, I just said, I'm not gonna do that. He always seemed like he liked it. And then when I was going through college, I was trying to decide what do I want to do, and he said, well, you might want to think about teaching. I go, no, Dad, you don't know. And then as I got closer to graduating, I said, I better pick something that I'm really gonna do. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna do my credential and give it a shot. And what a blessing! I mean, I just was so fortunate. I fell into something that I embraced, but my dad loved it, and so I think at one point, it was kind of ridiculous. I'm a little side note. So
Go for it.
Much of our family. So my dad was a teacher. I became a teacher. My brother that's closest to me in age, he became a teacher. My sister became a teacher. I married a teacher. Her mom and dad were teachers. Her sister was a teacher. Her sister's husband. So, we get family things. It wasn't a family reunion. It was a faculty meeting.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
That's so funny. He liked it enough to drive across 2 bridges every day. Your dad he drove across 2 bridges every day. Right?
The one bridge.
Oh, did you just go the Oakland way?
Yeah, he would do the Oakland Bridge to from San Francisco to Richmond.
Richmond, okay. Because I would think that you guys being off 19th, you could go. Well, was this Richmond Stand or Fell Bridge not there?
I was just thinking about that. That is one of the scariest bridges I've ever had to drive across. Also, but just a side note, the fact that you can see through the bottom.
Oh, yeah.
Right at the curb. The whole time you're driving, you're like, this is, I don't know what it is. It just puts you way more in touch with how fragile that bridge is. And you're like, that cracked. I'm going a long ways down, man.
Not only that, it's a double decker. So if someone comes through the top rope,
you can just see blue light through the bottom of it. I'm like, oh, God.
At least it's better than 92. It's not falling out.
Yeah. But dude, towing a trailer across that bridge is like... oh my God. And then you get past San Quentin, you're like, oh, made it.
Yeah, so when did that bridge? Because he could have gone, straight up 19th, Golden Gate, and across if Richmond Bridge was there. But
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know he always took.
It's a newer bridge.
He always took the Bay Bridge.
Yeah, it was a good bridge. It's a better bridge now.
Bay Bridge? Yeah.
Better now.
Yeah.
It came back.
It came back.
It cracked, but it came back. So what was your high school and college experience like?
So I went to Lowell High School and just really privileged. I mean, so it's a public school in San Francisco, but it's an academic school. So somehow I got in. I don't know. I mean, I'm serious. It's like, wow. My first year, my first semester, I was on, so they had, I was on the basketball team, but they had like what they called lightweights in those days. So there was JV and varsity, and they played in the wintertime. But if you're under a certain height and weight and and your age, they have these other two other teams.
You're talking football?
No,
this
basketball.
is basketball.
Oh, okay.
So I was on the basketball team in the fall. And we'd have practice sometimes at 6 a.m, before school. And I remember walking down the hallway. I'm going to go to practice. I'm going thinking like, oh man, why am I going to, this is terrible. But the halls were lined up with students. And they're all like, I go, what are they doing? And I found out after my first report card, they were studying.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah. That place was intense,
That's wild.
Yeah, so then the council calls me in and says, like, you better buckle down or you're out. It's like, what? I made it in here. I don't want to leave. So, eventually you adjust and, the expectations as a student that work's got to be done. You got to listen but the school was great. It taught me a lot. It was a lot of fun. We had the open campus, which I believe in, and which we had at Half Moon Bay High School.
It's so amazing.
Yeah.
Can we talk a little bit about that? What was that process like trying to keep that alive while you were principal?
There's always going to be some push to close the campus. When if there's ever an issue in the community, that's what the ones that, hey, you got to close that campus. All the other schools are closed, But for me, I didn't want you all of my students to feel like school is a place where we have to lock our students down, that our students are community members. For our seniors, they're going to be in that community, working in that community for the most part, if they weren't already being a part of it in the next few weeks.
Yeah.
And the idea that our students should not be part of that community and part of the economy. And, I know our restaurants do appreciate it, where some of the other, I think, areas, they don't want the kids down in the stores and whatnot.
Well, also,
I gotta be careful when I go to lunch. I mean, like if I
to time it.
I mean, today I went to Safeway and I just walked in and there's 100 high schoolers in there, and I was like,
That's why
wait.
if you just call in your order and go at like 11:55, it's pretty nice.
Yeah.
But I think that it really, like, having an open campus really helps set you up for your career later in life as well, because it teaches you the whole work aspect up until lunch, and then lunch is your time and you can go do what you want to do. But then as long as you're back at this time and then you're ready to work for the rest of the day, then it's an example.
I mean, and the fact that we had so many beaches, honestly, just like I would have my lunch, get a couple friends, you drive down to the beach, you go eat lunch.
Yeah.
On the beach,
Killer.
in the middle of your school day,
Yeah.
and then drive back to school. Like it's great.
Yeah.
That's so
awesome.
cool. See, I love hearing it. And
Some people used to go surf on their lunch.
oh man,
yeah.
really?
Yeah. It's crazy.
Wow.
And when you really think about it, they're in the water.
Cole Miller.
Yeah.
Cole Miller is the one that stands out for me. That guy was.
When you think about it, they're in the water for like 10 minutes.
I know.
They literally it takes them 20
one
minutes
wave.
just to get suited up and down to the beach. And then it's like, okay, I'm in the water. Okay, I got to get out so I can unsuit, change, and be back to school.
And then I can eat in shop class.
Yeah, it's wild.
No, I remember one time they tried to lock us in.
Ooh.
I didn't. Well, I drove through the fence.
You rioted.
No,
Lock you in where?
into the upper parking lot.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I remember
like you.
I drove. I drove through the fence. They made me fix it. I had to bring. I legit had to take my truck and bring a welder and a generator up and fix it. Otherwise,
No,
you know.
Ian was not my student at the high school. Remember?
Like I said, I was lucky to have you at middle school, and you were lucky not to have me at high school. But yeah, it's like you want your $5 tri-tip from New Leaf, which isn't even a thing anymore. But like you,
I know that sucks too. The tri-tip sandwich is kind of gone.
Yeah,
it is technically still there, but it's not the same.
It's just not the same.
New Leaf, bring it back. Yeah. Come on.
Yeah. So our place in high school on Thursday on Terraville Street was Herb's Delicatessen, and Mrs. Herb on Thursdays would cook a pot of meatballs. And the pot must have been not quite this size of this table, but it was huge.
The whole school went.
And you walk in, there's just adults, everybody. And everyone waiting in line to go back. And Mrs. Herb would just take them out. She'd slice them, put them on these sourdough rolls, drop some cheese on. Oh, man. Every Thursday, it was like, got to get to Herb's.
How much were those back then?
Oh, man, I don't even know. They're
$1? I don't know.
That might be too much. No, I don't know.
10 cents.
No, they were 10 cents.
That's how much the Bay Bridge cost.
To build?
No. Just to go over.
Oh, okay. Well, before we get back into you're talking about, we'll get back into college, but what kind of student were you at that age? I mean, you got through into an academic school. You must have been like somewhat,
Yeah, I mean, I was fortunate that, I was not one of the top students. We had some students at that school just amazing and so dedicated and so focused. I think I was a good student. My thing is through college, I'd show up to class. I was always there. I figured like, if the teacher's talking about something, I may not have read all the information, all the notes, whatever, but if whatever they're talking about, it's probably what they're going to test us on because that's important. So I learned to be pretty successful. I was a B, 3.2 student. But I was not, like one of the MIT. A lot of kids really wanted to go to Berkeley at that time, and Lowell it really feeds into those. It just has so many, and the competition's tough, and that's why they go there. And but I was fortunate; I lived right near it, so for my first year, I walked to school, and then when I got my license, I could drive to school. I didn't need to drive to school, but I wanted to drive to school.
Yeah.
What was your first car?
So my dad gave me, it's a 1969 Mercury Marquis. The thing was humongous.
Yeah, it's gigantic.
We're gonna pull up a picture, and hopefully Cole can throw it in so people know what the car looks like.
But
old boat.
So a giant boat. But my dad did not want to spend. My dad was frugal. He was a good guy, but he was frugal. So like we had still the roll up windows, no air conditioning, and like we go down to like Disneyland as a family.
Oh my God.
That looks like it's a two-door. That's right. We had a two-door.
Two doors?
There was four of us kids in the back.
Oh my gosh.
We go to like L.A. and we'd all be in the backseat fighting, and then my mom and dad would sit in the front, and then my cousin would come along sometimes, and every now and then you'd hear like, "That's it. Stop! We're gonna stop the car. We're gonna turn around."
That's
definitely
a land yacht.
And then my dad every now and then would just swing indiscriminately his hand back to smack somebody. just you didn't want to be in the way, It wasn't.
Luckily, you were 4 feet away.
That arm, because we'd be on the floor, because there's no seatbelts in those days. I think there might have been in the car. And then my youngest brother, when he was born, he was a lot younger than us. They had him in this today would be a car seat, but those days it wasn't a car seat. They had like a little steering wheel with like a little red rubber thing that you honk the horn. If it got in a wreck, that thing would have flown through the window, the kid and everything. So he had most of the room because I took him half the back. So my brothers, the other brother, sister, and myself and my cousin, we're all fighting on the floor, wrestling around. And my dad would like driving us like hot and stuff like that. Dad, it's so hot. He'd open that window like that was like he had rationing air, not air conditioning, just air. Like
Can't kill the mileage.
Yeah.
You go from like 8 miles to the gallon to 7.
It was also probably like if you kids want to wrestle back there, you can feel the heat.
Just trying to get you guys tired out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was my first car, and so I was driving it. And I was not the biggest guy, so I think I was driving like looking through the steering wheel. And all my buddies in the back and driving around.
Phone book,
something like that.
Michelin map.
So you ended up starting college at SF State.
Yeah,
and then you eventually. What made you transfer to Chico so soon? And yeah.
That's a good question. So I started at SF State. I mean, it's right across from where I lived, and
convenient,
very convenient. I was going out for the baseball team there, and I was on part of that, and I knew everybody. But I remember sitting around with a buddy of mine, a real close friend, and we're still to this day, John Narsovich, best of friends. We're sitting around one day and we're just saying, like, God, we're doing the same stuff we did in high school. We're not doing, there's nothing different, like we're going to college, but it doesn't feel like college. And we said, let's switch. Let's go somewhere. And I go, well, where do you want to go? I don't know. I said, I heard Chico's fun. And that was it. So we said, okay, we sent our application in mid-year. And we got accepted. I couldn't find it on a map because I thought it was in Southern California. In those days, you had like a paper map, and you looking
at the Rand McNally.
What's that? Yeah,
Rand McNally.
Yeah, something like that, or AAA maps. You get it's in Northern California. And then I remember driving in. So he and I, we drove like the two of us, following each other. Like we're going to, and we're driving through this little town of like Hamilton City. I'm going like. And I'm pulling the Chico, and it was small in those days. I mean, today it's got like 100,000. I think there might have been 30,000 between the school and the town. Wow. And I'm going like, oh man, I just sentenced myself to 4 years of this. I was going, oh no. But I said, I can't, I got to stick this one out. And,
especially when you get there in August and it's 112.
Well, it was, so I transferred mid-year. So it was like, it was February. And it was.
So you didn't even know what was coming.
No, not a clue. Not a clue. But so I get there and we give us John Narsovich and I, we get a dorm room together. We're sharing a room, and we're both laying on the bed and going. I'm thinking, I left San Francisco for this. Oh man, okay, I can't turn back. I guess I just suck it up for 4 years, and then like someone knocked on our dorm room door. I go, what's that? Hey guys, I just want to introduce myself. It's a pretty gal, and like there's a party going down. Why don't you come down? Like, what?
Okay.
From then on, I love Chico. Chico. And then it turned out, I mean, Chico I think is absolutely fabulous school. And in those days, it was wild. And there was, they had a thing called Pioneer Days, which got out of control. But for the most part, the students that learn, one of the things you learn is how to balance the fun and those pieces with the serious academics. And I had some people I started with that were really bright. I mean, they were smart, but they had trouble with that balance, and it didn't work so well for them. But for those who graduate, really, it's a wonderful school. They have great professors. My two brothers went to end up going there, and in fact, my stepdaughter's there right now. She's going to graduate next month. So
awesome!
Congrats!
Yeah, thank you.
Well,
and so you ended up going and you got a political science and communications degree. Why did you choose that? And then did you always? Were you at the point where you saw yourself going into education after that?
Yeah, David, that's a good question. No, so I originally came in and I was wanted to be a journalism major. I was the sports editor of our newspaper. The Lowell, that's the name of it, is nationally renowned. It's awards for. I mean, we put on. I forget how many pages of each edition was.
And this was when you were at Chico?
No, this was back at high school.
High school. Okay,
so then when I came to Chico, I was, I love sports. I thought I'd love to write and, do that kind of, and so I was taking, along with your basic education, I was taking some journalism classes, but some of the other classes I took around political science at the time became really, to me, just more fascinating. I found a passion for it. So my communication minor was mainly because of the journalism. And so I still had that background, and I was actually able to, if I wanted to teach English up to ninth grade, I think it is, or teach yearbook, and I had that credential to do that. But the political science, and then so I was thinking, to get to your question, what am I going to do now? With the political science major, and that's when my dad suggested teaching. I said, you know what, I'm going to give that a shot, and that's when I started the credential program, I just really wow, I got this information, but I also got a chance to connect it with other people and kids, and it starts building on itself, and you get pretty excited about it.
Want to get your business in front of a loyal local audience? Between Shifts brings Coastside stories to life with real conversations, local legends, and plenty of laughs. Sponsorships include custom ad reads, shout-outs in episodes, and visibility across all our socials, all designed to connect your brand with engaged listeners who support local. Now please email betweenshiftspod@gmail.com for any inquiries. Thank you.
All right, well, getting back into the interview, you've taught at a bunch of high schools across the state, some being Orrville, Sutter, Corning, and obviously Half Moon Bay. Yeah. But when you look back on all of that, what school or era taught you the biggest lessons and why? And side note to this question, was Sutter already destroying girls' locker rooms when it was a football game? Because when we beat them in the NorCal game, they went back up to the girls' locker room and busted locks, pissed in lockers, and went crazy on the girls' locker room.
Whoa. Yeah. I was pretty disappointed by that one. In fact, I called their principal. They have just one school, so he's the principal and superintendent. And I called him that next day. I go, I knew him pretty well, and, I worked there, and my wife worked with him for many years. And I said, and he was great. How much you will need, and so, he sent us a check. Yeah. What am I going to do? And I said, I don't know how. I mean, I was just so upset that you came down here and you played the game, you lost the game. Have some dignity. And, that's one of the things that I think we need to, kids should learn.
Yeah, you got to learn how to lose. That's way more important than learning how to win, in my opinion. But did you see years after that game also, they got busted and caught on camera doing the exact same thing? It's passed down generations. If you lose. Well, it was crazy going into that game. It was crazy going into the game because Sutter being way up, it's up north, right? Yeah, way up north. They have probably the best football program up north. They won the CCS championship up north it's NCS, right? Okay. They won it 5 years in a row. 5 years in a row. They made it to the NorCal championship. They lost the NorCal championship 5 years in a row because they started playing real competition. But it was funny coming into it because they had studs on their team. They were really good. And yeah, it was funny. It made the win that much sweeter knowing that they threw a fit.
So I never taught there. We lived out there. So I was teaching at Orrville High School, and so I only did one semester at Corning because I finished student teaching. I student taught at Orrville High, and through Chico State, and then but my student teaching was the fall. So I finished in January. I was fortunate. Corning had a position open. They needed a world history teacher and a JV baseball coach. So I finished student teaching on Friday. I had a full-time job on Monday.
Wow.
It was, I had like in those days, a little mustache. I look young. I mean, young. And so they're interviewing me, and they said, "Well, we got one last question." He goes, "Would you be willing to shave off that mustache if you take the job? We don't allow facial hair for our kids nor our teachers." I go, "What?" I go, "Well, for $12,600 a year, I'm in." So then I'm coaching the team. I'm walking out with a bunch of gear, and the other team, I remember, it was Orland High, one of the first games. "Hey, where's your coach?" I'm screaming, "I'm the coach!" Baseball, of all sports, the other sports you wear, you're dressed in a baseball uniform. So, hey, where's your coach? I was like, oh, it's hot.
You know where that comes from? How, like, in baseball, like, the manager, they're the only ones that wear uniforms.
On the coaching staff?
Yeah, it's like the whole coaching staff wears uniforms, and it's because back when baseball first started and they didn't really have managers, it was essentially just one of the old guys or an injured guy that would become the manager and like set lineups and call, substitutions and everything. So it started because the managers were just players sitting on the bench. And then once it got serious enough and they started, having manager positions, they just left it. And to this day, they still wear uniforms.
I didn't know that. I just thought, like, why are we wearing? Why do I have to wear the uniform? But you did, because that's what you always did in baseball. But I remember in basketball, some of the basketball coaches were player coaches. In fact, the Warriors, when they won the NBA championship in '75. Al Addles was the coach, and he was the player coach. But I think that year he had just stepped out of not playing.
That's
but a few years before, like, I'm putting myself in.
I got this one.
Can you imagine if Steve Kerr did that? Just sat on the 3-point line, threw up some shots. He'd probably still be a stud.
Probably.
I think Bill Russell did it too.
Oh, yeah.
Because when he was playing,
cool.
and then he when Red Auerbach stepped down as the manager of the coach of the Celtics, Bill Russell was one of the all-time greats, and I think he became the head coach and a player coach for a while.
Yeah.
Huh. So we're hiring too many coaches. So speaking of having to shave your mustache, there's got to be different policies moving around from school to school. Was there like a reason that you would move from one to another? Was there just a job opening that was better somewhere else, or a policy that you didn't agree with somewhere?
Yeah. In the big picture, I don't think I moved too much. So I went to Corning. It was for a semester. They were having a teacher come back.
Okay.
So fortunately, in that fall, Orville had a position open, and I got that position teaching at Orville High. So, I loved that place. The kids were great.
Orville in general is so fun.
Yeah.
I grew up going to Lake Orville.
Oh, heck yeah.
Oh, it's so good, jumping the bridge.
Orville Wildlife Area is very cool too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you got to go to
Nice.
Corning. was part of the interview at Corning, like, hey, how would you like to be in the middle of nowhere?
No, by that time, you going to school at Chico and out in that whole area fishing and golfing and sometimes hunting and doing those kind of things. So it just becomes like, it never felt like that. Okay. But Orville they were paying more. I got a pretty good pay raise from that $12,600 up to $18,000. I'm like, I wouldn't bought a car, and
I don't need this marquee anymore.
But we had at that time, Orville just had a great group of people, teachers, some amazing teachers, and also a lot of really good on-campus coaches, and those are really tight fraternity. I mean, I have to say I learned so much and really enjoyed it. And, I did a lot of coaching in those days. I was department chair. Basketball became my primary sport and coaching that. I was doing the boys for a couple of years, the freshmen. And they had two coaches ahead of me at the varsity and athletic director came to me after the second year and goes, we're really struggling on our girls. They hadn't won a game in 4 years. I want you to consider switching to girls varsity. And, I go, what? I hadn't thought about that one, and then gave it some thought. He goes, I'll give you all the support. We'll get some new uniforms for the kids. And so I did it. And, first year, after the second game, we were a 500 team. And then we went 1-22. It was a long season. But then we won 6 the next year and 15, I think, the year after. And then we're Northern Section champions and after 4 years. And so it was just a really powerful place. Kids they worked hard. It wasn't an affluent area, but I thought it was just an amazing place to work. So I would have probably stayed there my whole career. But my wife we had by that point, we moved down to the Yuba City area near Sutter because that's where she got a job teaching. We had to decide where do you want to live, and we decided down there. And so she was at Sutter High School, and that's how I ended up doing football because I had success in basketball, and Sutter High hadn't won a league game in 2 or 3 years. So the head coach asked me, he got rid of that staff, and I'm not a football guy. I think I know basketball. I know other sports. He goes, I need people to coach kids, and I'll teach you the football. And so we ended up 4th place, 3rd place, 2nd place, and then the year I moved down to Half Moon Bay, they were undefeated, and then they were on a roll.
Then they went for it, dude. Then they started the girls' locker room stuff.
But you're a real life Ted Lasso. Shows up, be positive, doesn't coach the sport you don't really know. You're Ted Lasso. They wrote Ted Lasso about you.
Yeah. Well, I'd done enough around, I think I understood enough, and I spent a lot of time studying, the positions I was coaching and teaching, and of course, each year you hopefully get a little bit better, and I'd go to the clinics, watch all the video in those days. You watch the tapes, every drill, go to practices of other really good programs, and one of the problems, our coach, the head coach. He was trying to make extra money, so he was going up to Alaska and guiding hunting trips and fishing trips.
Wow.
There's no summer program, so I said, "Well, if we're going to have success, we gotta have a summer." So I implemented, hey, you guys coming all summer long, we're lifting, and I was throwing to them, and we could at least do that kind of stuff. So by the time, and then after that, we got he got more serious about it. He had retired by the time that you guys played him, and they did their stuff.
That's good. Yeah. Yeah. God, it was so nice.
That was a good way.
Well, coming from a family of educators, how did that influence your philosophy when it came to working with students, parents, and just the community in general?
Yeah, it's it evolved. I think early on I was, I think all of us when we start teaching, you're constantly looking at yourself and saying, "Oh, I did that lesson. My lesson was great, and I gave all this information." And then after a few years, you start thinking like, "I wonder how much they learned." And and then you start really. Then once you become comfortable enough where you could teach and talk and think and still watch and see the connection. Like if I'm looking and I see that eye contact and nodding head and, those kind of things, you start understanding what kids, how they're learning and if they're engaged and, and sometimes, walk over and just put your hand on, you might be talking about something else, but you got your hand on the shoulder and all of a sudden like, oh, he's wants me to pay attention.
I used to get, when you would come into a classroom, I'd get so nervous. We'd be in like Mr. Leiter's classroom and we'd be talking about something fun and I'd be like, sometimes I'd had my hand up and then you'd come through the door and be like, maybe I'll just hold off on that one.
So I think, part of my philosophy is, especially as I progressed, I think it became less early on, probably more regimented because you just want to make sure everything goes perfect. And then you became more comfortable in yourself. And, so hopefully by the time I came to Half Moon Bay, so to finish the story, my wife was teaching at Sutter. She finally said, She did not want to live there, and she didn't want to be at, so we decided either we're going to go back to, move back to Chico, and I still teach at Orville, and she'll look for a job, or if we got 2 jobs in the Bay Area, we'll move to the Bay Area, because that year my dad had just passed, and my mom, I thought we could help my mom out a little bit. And I applied, and I got the job at Half Moon Bay, and I immediately said, "I'll take that one." I mean, that's one, because I remember coming down as a kid. My mom loved Half Moon Bay. We used to go to. She loved at the time. It's Barbara's. It used to be called Hazel's.
That's my great grandmother.
Who?
Hazel.
Hazel?
Yeah.
That's my mom was British, so she loved Hazel.
Awesome. Yeah.
So every time
That was my great grandmother and my great grandfather's sister.
I think
No way.
I think
They're
you're like
both named
5
Hazel.
weeks straight mentioning.
I love it. I'll mention it again next week. I have a
Hazel's?
lot of pride in my family.
great band name.
Would be cool.
So the job opened up in Half Moon Bay.
So I got that one,
Okay.
and then but we still like, how are we going to afford to live down in this area? And but I did call my old scoutmaster Larry Teixeira, who I knew was principal at Burlingame. He said, I got a PE, because she was a PE teacher, my ex-wife, and I said, I got a PE. So she applied for it and got that job, and that was it. And then we looked around. We lived in the city for a couple of years. We had this apartment, so we lived there for a couple of years, and we looked at started looking at Burlingame like. No.
Never mind.
They'd see us walking in like, I don't have time to take you on a tour of anything. You may want to. So Half Moon Bay was more affordable, and it also felt more like relaxed and open. And so I bought my house in '97. I'm still there and love it.
Awesome.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and I hate to bring in like a darker side of this interview, but how throughout your teaching career, how has it kind of evolved with the fact that school shootings are becoming more and more prominent, sadly? But yeah, just how has that changed your career, and what does that bring into your mind as a educator?
Yeah, I mean, those are always like, those are kind of things that are the worst. I mean, when we started teaching, you didn't think about it. You think about, a couple kids getting in a fist fight, smoking some marijuana, those kind of things. Unfortunately, school safety has become such a prominent piece of the educational puzzle, and it is concerning. Just recently we saw over in Oakland, the great football coach
John Beam,
assassinated, I guess, and they had a shooting the day, or a person with a gun on campus at his old high school. So those are scary.
I don't mean to cut you off. Is it true that the John Beam stuff was an assassination, or was that?
Oh, I'm calling it that.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But it sounded like this person had. What I'm just reading is, and we'll know more soon, kind of was infatuated with him for some reason.
Oh, wow.
And,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's what I'm just reading in the Chronicle.
I thought he got hit by a crossfire, stray bullet.
No, this was a targeted.
Wow.
That, according to everything they're seeing right now, we'll know more soon. But so what happens is, every time those kind of things occur, you're looking at how can we create an environment that's safer. But as much as you can do, the key is to try to develop a culture where students and families and people feel secure enough to report things that are happening, because there's no way with today's media and social, things could go on and people are getting angry at each other. And, it's not like in class. It's not like, oh, I heard this, it could be happening over social media between just a small group of people. And, those are so, in fact, when I think you were there, and you guys were there, at the high school, we had two kids get in a fist fight down at they prearranged. We're going to go down to the Johnson house
During football season.
during football season
On a Friday. Everybody's wearing their jerseys.
and
Hearing about that one.
But in the big picture, fortunately, those two weren't hurt. They shook hands. They fought, but it really bothered me because it would have taken no more than a second for just some kid to walk up and say, "Mr. Nazar, there's going to be something going down at the Johnson house." I could have been out there, and if I'm there, I know what the kids was veered off, and maybe would have found out what's happened, shut it down before it happens, settle it out. But because of that, it did move into, we created a lot of things put in place to increase safety because, that was one that no one was physically hurt, but I'm sure emotionally that wasn't good for them. But what are some things we could do? So we created the kindness campaign that came out of it. We had a group of parents really working with kids to open up. We added that program, the Tip 411, where you could call in anonymously if you don't feel comfortable. So I think the culture of the school improved because of that. Because I don't know if there's any way you could totally, unless you create some massive physical barriers, and you check every kid every day, how, at what point do we say this is a school, not a prison?
Yeah.
And I've always, like I told you, I like our kids are going to be able to leave the campus. We don't have a lot of bars and whatnot. So we need, our students and our community needs to be alert and have the confidence to say, I'm not ratting someone out. I am being proactive and protecting them.
Yeah. Funny story behind that fight too, since it's in the past and you've learned a lot from it. I've learned a lot from it. How we used to, at lunch, we'd run out there. We'd run out to go get to your truck the fastest, to get down the hill, not get stuck in traffic. And I run out and my girlfriend meets me. She never ran. She would just walk. And I'd be like, come on, let's go. But she got to the truck and I was like, we're going to the Johnson house. We're going to go watch this fight. Thankfully, she was uninterested in seeing a fight because I was like, "Oh yeah, we're going down there." And we had it was a Friday, so we all had our game jerseys on, and everybody that went down to this fight, of course, you're not thinking about this. Somebody filmed it.
And everyone's got their number.
Everyone's has their number, last name on their jersey, everything, and shit just hit the fan.
I will say, Ronnie, who we were just talking to earlier, he got in trouble because he was in one of the videos.
Yeah.
So he got, whatever, like no lunch for like lunch detention for a month or something.
Yeah.
And he did not rat me out.
Oh, that's nice.
Because I was there with him.
Also, though, in the educator's defense, if somebody presents a video of a fight off campus but on lunchtime, and people have jerseys on and everything, like it's only right that you follow through with some sort of repercussion so that it's not going to be happening in the future.
Yeah.
But it's so it was just like looking back on it, it was so funny, and it was actually. Especially for that time, it was a gentleman's fight. Like you're right, they fought, got up, shook hands, and moved on.
Yeah, but what bothered me the most is that we could have prevented it because as it worked out, no one was physically hurt, but I do believe some were emotionally really upset by that. But also, someone could have been hurt.
Yeah,
and if we're talking about a culture. Okay, that was a fist fight. No one physically got that hurt, but at what limit do we have? And
for sure,
to get to your question, okay, some places the kids will settle with guns. You don't know.
Yeah,
and you could laugh, because no one got physically hurt, but. I learned a lot. We learned a lot. And I think we improved as a school because, yes, we're going to have consequences. And then we didn't realize when we first heard about it and saw a little bit the scope. There was a lot of people there watching, and each person had a reason for being there. I'm going to do this or that. I'll help my friend. But what's better if I could have been down there Okay, you guys all came driving in like, what
Yeah.
are you guys? Like,
Yeah.
and like, figured out how, so then, there wouldn't have been the chance of getting hurt. So, when you really respond to that question is, it's trying to create a culture where people feel secure enough that I'm doing something positive instead of something, I'm just not going to say it. I'm not going to, snitch on somebody. But this is like trying to make a better environment for everybody.
Totally. Great answer. Yeah. And maybe it's, at the end of the day, maybe it's just people need a significant other at that point in time. Tell them, no, I don't want to go watch that.
The evolution of social media has got to be changing the landscape constantly too, because Half Moon Bay changed so often, like so much from the time like my parents would talk about like, oh yeah, they used to hunt behind the school, and then like obviously when you weren't there, but like we would go hunting on the weekends and we'd show up and we'd walk to class and we'd be like, oh, we got shotgun shells in our pockets. Mm-hmm. Hey teacher, can we go put these in our truck? It was, and now it's, I feel like just all schools, you probably can't bring, obviously you probably can't bring shotgun shells to school anymore at all.
You can't even have them on a rack in the back of your truck anymore.
Yeah. But like that was like a normal thing to do as long as the gun was locked or whatever, you could just bring it with you.
Yeah.
That wasn't that long ago.
There's definitely the era, even when I started teaching, like at a Corning and whatnot, many of the kids would go hunt before school or after school, and some of our staff members as well. And no one would have at that time thought that this shotgun or this rifle or whatever is used for anything other than hunting. And, but today,
sadly,
and pathetically, it's really heartbreaking that there's not better ways to resolve things that are conflicts, and that's it's been my dream is set up an environment where people feel secure enough. And really, if you want kids to learn, how are you going to learn if you're afraid?
Yeah, you got to be comfortable.
Yeah, no, and I David and I and you at middle school can attest to how safe we felt under your leadership at a school. And
thanks.
It was honestly really nice. And I really enjoyed how you were just so involved. Like we briefly touched on it with the whole announcement thing that you would come on and talk, and like, yes, you were talking into a microphone, but at the same time you were talking to every student in the school every single morning. And to your point earlier of you saying like the whole point of you getting on the microphone was to communicate and be in contact and feel like you're there with the students every day. It was totally like that.
Well, thanks.
And thank you. It got to the point to where we looked forward to hearing you talking in the morning, which was really fun. Like,
I'd always try to, make some like those raffle things and come on down and give your buddy a high five.
That was fun.
So visualizing like kids in class, doing these kind of things. And so I always try to be out there break time, lunchtime, out on the quad, be visible if someone has something to talk about, or otherwise just, monitoring and watching students.
Well, plus you were super involved, but also encouraging with sports and clubs and whatever it may be. You were just out there trying to encourage students to get out of their comfort zone and go experience life.
Well, that's what, those are really important. And, I think more important, like some people, I think we've lost a little bit of really, I think the most significant thing on a bigger level of athletics, I think where I feel Half Moon Bay is still so cool is that our kids play because they know each other, they stick together, they want to do well for Half Moon Bay High School. There's pride in that. Mm-hmm. I think what's happening is a lot of people are just bouncing from schools to school. I want try to make themselves some major star or athlete instead of really the idea of athletics in school. School-based athletics is to try to teach teamwork, commitment to follow through. You start something, you finish it. You're loyal to your team. Discipline, all those kind of things. Those are lessons that why we have athletics in there. Winning is a byproduct of your commitment and all those kind of things, but it's not guaranteed. And trying to be a superstar is, I don't know if it's as important as the lessons that most of us can take away from athletics. And one of the beautiful things, like, seeing you guys and being part of, the success was we may not have had, we also had like one of the smaller schools in the PAL and in the CCS, yet our kids always stuck together. They grew up together. They care about each other. They battle for each other. And also, what I also admired was how disciplined that we were. You guys were so disciplined in basketball and all the sports that you could take these tough things on the field or on the courts in the contest, but it didn't carry over with very few personal fouls and those kind of things. That to me is something I always respected and admired from our coaching staff, our families, and our students. It's been a lot of fun.
Just holding yourself to a high standard.
Yeah.
I mean, that's always been the coolest part about Half Moon Bay sports forever is just the fact that it's such a small talent pool.
Yeah.
And it still like holds up against the competition.
Oh yeah.
And the crazy part is like with high school, I'm solely speaking football, basketball, because that's just what I played, but it's with all sports. Now, I think it might, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think our senior year, it was the last time where it was really hard for a small school like us to get involved or get into an upper division, Central Coast section or NorCal or state division. So it meant a lot. Like it meant a lot to us to try to put Half Moon Bay on like John Parsons was saying, put Half Moon Bay on the map, but also just to get that elevated playing platform so that the kids coming up behind you had that opportunity to be up there where you're recognized with schools in the Bay Division, like Sacred Heart Prep, Menlo's not in, but like Burlingame, like all these Aragon, all these schools at the time. But then they changed it, and now it's like Half Moon Bay still holds ourselves to that high standard. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying anything like that. But I wish, I just wish that schools still had to have that shot. Like you had to work the entire season to get to that point. It's interesting. The format for playoffs and stuff in all sports has just changed. Like a small school can get into the bigger school's division that much easier. And it hurts the small school because you have a good season in a lower league and they'll put you in this way upper division, and in the first round you're done. Yeah. And it's like, no, like let them work themselves up. Like it's progression, like in everything. But sorry, that was a tangent.
That's okay. So I served on the CIF Federated Council for 6 years, and CIF oversees all interscholastic athletics in the state of California. So I had actually in that council was a voting member. I only had one vote because I was represented AXA, which is the Association of California State Administrators. The southern section had like 54 votes. So it was a huge section. Northern section has only a few, so.
Alaska versus California.
Yeah, that's good. It just you're just getting, but.
So
I did have a voice in it, but they shifted to competitive equity, so they wanted to, now they try to build playoffs where teams that are weaker get to play against each other and have a chance and maybe to build up their program.
Yeah.
So that is the goal. It's not a very perfect system, but that is the goal of the CIF right now.
Yeah, because I know like a couple of years after our senior year, the team was pretty good and they got thrown into an upper division and just got crushed like immediately. But so I don't know. I've always wondered this since high school, but do you understand the inner workings of the CIF system enough to know why we had to go play a home game in San Diego?
Yeah, so
I know. I've always just wondered. This is just
I don't know why they picked that unless it was selected prior. I'm not sure on how they picked the venue. At one time, they were using like one or two stadiums for almost all the venues, and then as they increased the amount of divisions for more playoffs, they started to use different sites. So they try to balance now between north and south, and we just got the short end of the stick. We're down near Chula Vista, on the furthest south you could get in California, and
8 hours.
That's so brutal. You guys drove,
8 hours in a bus.
Yeah,
like it's whatever. Like, but I was just confused because I remember the same year Sarah played against a team also from, I think it was San Diego or somewhere down south. but they met halfway. They met in like the valley somewhere at a high school, and I was like, we should have done that.
Yeah,
been
I mean, yeah, but that's I know one team really complained. Orland, which is up in the Chico area, they hosted like a D5 or 6 state championship game, and they have the old grass field, and it was wet and muddy, and the team that came up to play them from Southern California was, they said, look at this is not a state championship venue. Orland wins because that's their home field,
They know where all the potholes are.
So like I think they look at it'd be nice to use let's say the park where the 49ers play. That'd be great, but
what is it? Where Keys are.
Kezar. That's what he's talking about. Kezar Stadium.
Yeah, Kezar's a great stadium.
That's the old Niners Stadium.
Do they do high school games there?
Yeah, SI plays there occasionally.
Yeah, a lot of the high schools did. When I was growing up, I didn't play football because I was doing the basketball and baseball. But our Lowell High, we made it to the section championship, which is the city championship, AAA, and. We played at the old Kezar Stadium. So it was the one that, as a kid, I'd go there, watch 49er games. Yeah. My dad would take me a couple games. My all-time greatest quarterback was Johnny Unitas. He played for the Colts. And when the Colts were coming, so he took me to the first, oh man.
That's so cool.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It was awesome. But like it used to hold like 54,000. Now they chopped it all down. It's really nice.
We went to the city for Halloween, and we parked right next to the field. And this kind of ties back into like feeling the energy of places you go to. But we had played basketball in Kezar Stadium in the gym. That was super cool, where the Warriors used to play. But we parked like directly across the street from Kezar Stadium, and we got out of the car. I was like, "That's where the Niners used to play," and I was like fixated on it for a little, and nobody cared. I was just like, "Oh, looking at it."
Now, as a side note. So what kids would do, I didn't do this, not me. This what the kids would do is like, the Niners played there. They used to have the tunnels that the two teams would come running out of, but over the tunnels, cyclone fencing, and kids would take like a magnifying glass and heat up pennies and dimes and stuff like that. And they'd lay on top of the cyclone fence, and when the opponents would come running, they'd try to drop the coins
down their shoulder pads.
Yeah, drop it down between the shoulder pads. There's their helmets on, and like all of a sudden,
well, that's like hearing stories of the old Half Moon Bay Terra Nova rivalry is so fun. Like going through people when they drive the slide, like. The teams used to be waiting there for the bus with pumpkins and like throw pumpkins at the bus, or like Terra Nova would had something for us on our way over to Terra Nova. Like my uncle used to tell me stories about when because he was part of Cardiac Kids team.
Yeah,
and they allegedly they'd be waiting on Devil's Slide with like tunnels or with pumpkins, eggs, like anything to throw at the bus just to rattle them a little bit. Sounds like fun. Anyways, we'll get into FFA.
Yeah. I got a Slurpee thrown on the inside of my windshield one year. Bright red, just inside. As I was yelling at someone, of course, I had my window down. I was like, scared.
Let's talk about FFA.
Yeah, so we get to talk about Gavin's thing. Now we get to talk about my kind of stuff.
There you go.
You want me to go into it?
Yeah.
So Half Moon Bay is fairly unique in the agricultural program, as well as FFA, which is the Future Farmers of America.
Yep.
You put a lot of time and effort into getting this program up to speed and getting 2 teachers where we used to have, our science classes that were, there wasn't a whole lot of kids in there, and there wasn't like this leadership program from the FFA. And there's not a lot of other schools in the area that do the Future Farmers of America. And what did it kind of mean to you? And why did you put so much effort into like this one program?
Well, I thought when I came to Half Moon Bay High, I taught in Half Moon Bay High School, from was it 95 to 2001. The FFA program was it was okay. But really, I think there was a push to get rid of it. We're going to become an academic school, and there was so different principles and ideas, and it definitely was pushed to the side. We're going to be much more academic. But when I came back, one of the things that I really wanted to see is that our school can meet the needs of this entire community. We're not a Lowell High School, just an academic school. I think we're a school that can meet the academic needs. Like that's why we have kids going to the top schools in the nation. We have, I think, we have as many AP classes as almost any school in the entire peninsula. However, we also have a population of kids that may want to go into the trades, may want to go into agriculture, and I wanted to make sure that we have something that's valuable to the coast. And agriculture on the coast it's been a long history of it, and I felt that we're really doing a disservice to a number of our families and kids without a program. So it was pretty scary there for a while where we just didn't have the momentum, and I said we really have got to focus on it. And I spent a lot of time going to different conferences. I try to support the FFA kids by going to their state conference, but also learning about agriculture, FFA, and then their project. I forget their call. It's been a couple of years, but there's a big project that they do. Those are all interconnected, and you can't do one without the other. And there's so much power to the leadership part and the showing of whether it's animals, but there's there's other parts of floriculture. There's so many other things you could be doing. So I felt that this community could sure use that. It's valued. And so I put quite a bit of focus and effort into it. And my goal, so if you go up there now, they have a beautiful area that's they call, an area to work, farm. It has 2 beautiful greenhouses, but that whole area now has some beautiful fencing. It's upkept. There's flowers growing. There's the floriculture part. All those things going on. And my dream is that a wing. I'm not sure what the big plans are for the bond, but I wanted those 2 last rooms to be where Coach Holden's room is, and then the other classroom. I think it's Roth. Is over there. Take those out and convert those 2 into ag classrooms. Have the water, all those kind of things with a lot of glass. So now, if I'm a teacher in there, I could be in my class working with a student, but I'm now supervising my kids. Yep. They could be in the greenhouses. They could be doing hands-on work. They got the different stations out there. So I think that's the next step, and that's
so. Do you know Sonia Myers?
I do.
Yeah, she's so cool.
Yes.
I've been working on her to get her in for an interview as well because she has a cool story. And I mean, she started the little farm at Cunha, and then now she's up at the high school, helping with all of that. Or she might be running it.
So she's one of the ag teachers, and Hanalani Hansen is the other one. So both of them are really, I recruited Hanalani when we lost our ag teacher. She was up, I think, at Willows High School, and I said, hey, you got to come home. This is a good place. You could really, because I think they're both from the coast. They're committed to this community. And because agriculture is different here than like in the valley, like when my wife was at Sutter High School, they have acres and acres of orchards and whatnot, but this is not an orchard place. No. Agriculture is going to be a little bit more intensive, and there's different crops.
We're a stinky Brussels sprout place.
Yeah, they smell bad, but they taste good.
They do. Yeah.
Somebody's got to grow them.
Yeah, that's us.
Yeah.
Anna, who's also a Chico alum.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, a bit of transition back into your football years, but is there a moment from when you coached football that really sticks with you today?
Yeah. I don't know if there's one moment from the coaching aspect, but what I love is thinking, when I reflect back on it, the connection you make with the students, the players, the kids, and also the coaches. The coaching staff becomes like family because you spend a lot of time with them, strategizing, how do we, what are we going to run? How are we going to teach this? What's our philosophy? And then working with the kids, as a group. So, more than any one particular, thing that stood out. I mean, last year our JV team were 10-0. It was so much fun. This year we're 7-3, and I love working with those kids as much as the kids before. I mean, I felt like kids committed themselves. They really tried hard. They're really good young people. It's so more than any one thing, it's the culture that you're hopefully building, and I believe the next few years, Half Moon Bay High School is going to be a powerhouse. The young kids coming up are good and they care, and I think we have a lot of good potential.
Definitely, totally agree.
So me and David over here dying to talk some golf.
Oh, I love talking golf. Even though I forgot, I don't know how many principals have gotten personal fouls during a football game, but I did. It was Gavin's. I think that the year you went to the state. That was your senior year?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, and it wasn't like I was mean or something. So I remember our opponents, we were beating them pretty good. I forget who they were, but Dylan Williams was back for the kick as a I think kickoff return, maybe punt return. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Catches the ball. He starts, jukes to the right, turns to the left, busted down the sideline where I'm standing. We're all screaming, and he was fat. So I started leaping up and down, and I kind of drifted out onto the field a little bit, and the side official comes rushing down. This guy was huge. I mean, huge. He drilled me in the back, knocked me over, he jacked me up, ran about 6 steps, turned around, looked at me, and threw a flag at me.
That would have been Mills High School.
Just salt in the wound.
So I'm on the ground. I'm in total pain. I'm seeing this yellow flag. I was upset, but I go I can't say anything. I caused the penalty, and I was wrong, so I just get up. I had to, unfortunately, just beat them. So I wrote an apology to the team, I'm very sorry for Unfortunately, they didn't take back I think they gave us some 15 yards on the kickoff or something like that. But
Dylan probably still kicked it out of the back of the end zone.
That's funny. Yeah. All right. Well,
let's talk golf.
Let's get into golf. When did you start golf? And because I know you were talking about when you were up at Chico, there's good, outside of Chico, there was good golf up there. So you must have started when you were younger.
Yeah, not too much. I played, every now and then, just like every probably kid that plays sports. The only thing is I had a right-handed set of clubs. I'm left-handed. I played everything left-handed except for golf. Except for I putt left-handed because the putter was a little blade putter, so I just felt natural. So I putt left. Yeah. About my junior year of college, some friends said, "Hey, let's go play some golf." All right, borrow a set of clubs, and man, that's fun. So and then it becomes like a little bit of addiction. Like I'm getting a little better. I got to practice. I got to get out there. And since then, it's something that. It's one of my favorite recreational things. I love getting out playing golf. I fish, do all these kind of. I have a lot of hobbies, but golf is the one that it's the constant. It's great. You can play with a lot of different people. We could all get together, go out and play. It's independent of really. Yeah, if we're gonna gamble a little bit, or that's one thing.
I'm in on it.
But the reality is you're playing against yourself. So it's not like tennis where if we're not pretty well matched, it's not that fun. Yeah. But golf, it could always be fun.
Yeah. Yeah. What's your favorite hole on the ocean course and the old course?
Ooh.
And we're going to talk in depth about them.
The ocean, I'm going to say the 16th hole is just so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
You're up on top. You're looking, of course, at the ocean. You got the fields behind you.
Just got the notification on the car about the sea otters as you drive up to it.
Downhill tee shot.
Yeah.
You hit down that long, but then
You don't have to hit it like crazy either.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
But you got a tricky second shot because of the crevice in front of the
But
green.
you got that ravine,
the ravine,
and then you got a very narrow green.
Yeah, that slopes heavy from right to left.
Yeah, it's so like last week I was playing there, and my first time I birdied that hole. I was like, oh man, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah,
I hit a shot to the right. I was in the trap on the right hand side. I'm like, oh man, I hit this miracle wedge out there, and I was in like 10 feet away and knocked it in. Like,
wow,
I was stoked.
Get you fired.
That's
up.
hell of a birdie.
And then for the old course, there's a lot of good holes on that course, but 18 is pretty cool.
18.
Yeah, 18's the best.
18's got my number.
Although 17's pretty fun on the old course.
17th par 3.
Yeah.
So 18's got my number. I mean, I can't in all good conscience with my skill level hit across just
every time I've
to the
played
green.
Every time I've played the 18th, it's always like sun's going down and you can barely see. We're like, oh, let's just get one shot off.
Yeah, I don't think I've gotten like good enough conditions to legitimately like see where my ball goes. On 18, you know.
Yeah.
So you guys are twilighters.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Come on, it's cheaper, you know.
Not even. but
Absolutely.
yeah.
No, I'm a Legends member and I'll play anytime. Any hole in ones?
Never.
Okay.
I've come close a couple. In fact, I was playing with Mr. Cox about a couple weeks ago. And we played Sharp Park, and they got this hole. I think it's 12. It's a par 3 going out right to the ocean. It's
Yeah,
like
kind of a blind over the.
Yeah, there's like a ravine. There's some trees.
Yeah.
It's a tough.
It's a really hard hole, especially because the wind's blowing.
It plays
at you.
long.
It's brutal.
And that green is like it's like a pyramid green. Like everything wants to push it.
Yeah. And I hit a shot the other day, and I mean it came within 4 inches.
Oh,
See, and
If I birdied that one, I mean it was a 5-iron, maybe 175, 180, whatever it was.
Yeah.
I jacked it, and
See,
for me.
and that's where my dream hole in one is hole 5 at Sharp Park.
Oh, up the hill.
Up that uphill
the long.
after the par 5. So the second hole in the back
That's
canyon.
a tough hole.
It's a
That's a
hard
really
hole.
hard
Like
hole.
That's a hard hole.
a par on that hole feels like birdie.
Yeah.
And I just one day I want to just walk up to that green and not see my ball.
Yeah.
You know? Like
I have a lot of days like that where I don't see the ball. It's because they're in the bushes.
That's funny. My hole in one at 8 was.
You got
I got one at 8.
At Sharp.
At Sharp, right? The short hole. Right after you get across the street.
80 yards.
No, it was 102. But it's but I hit a 60 degree. Yeah.
that hole. You guys know Sharp.
Yeah.
That hole is surprisingly hard, not because it's hard hole, but because you think I can't screw it up.
Yeah.
So you start freaking out a little bit because it's so close. Like I don't want to screw this one up.
Yeah.
Sharp Park is my favorite course in our area.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean,
I
it's
love it too.
Conditions aren't great, but it's like if you go in there knowing conditions aren't great, and especially during summertime when you can I can get off of work, get there at 6:00, the starter's either not there, or I walk up and they're like, oh, just buy a couple drinks from the bar and you're good to go, and so it's just like those rounds where you can get 10 holes in.
Yeah.
Because 10 comes back to
Yeah.
the clubhouse. But, you can get 10 holes in for free at Sharp Park. So good. And it's Alistair McKenzie.
Yes, it is.
Great history there.
I'm an old course guy.
Are you?
Yeah. I like the old course.
It's a fun course.
See,
It's a fun course.
of those the two courses, I love the ocean course. I mean, when I was coaching the golf team, this is in the 90s. We didn't have the Ritz wasn't there. We only had the old course, and we had the kids had to walk. We had to walk, and the drainage was really poor. Of course, golf season started in February, but when I was coaching, it was like it doesn't matter. It can point right. We're going out. We got
Yeah.
the golf course. And we're going out. We're playing.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Yeah. So that was one of my other questions. You did coach golf. Of all the
did.
things you coached,
Yeah,
another one of them was golf.
Yeah, so I coached a lot of basketball over the years. High school, I did girls tennis for 6 years. I probably had about 10 years at Orville High. I was assistant for a couple of years because I wanted to play golf.
Yeah.
And then when Ken Arnold, who was the golf coach, he retired, then I took over the team. And then when I came to Half Moon Bay, my second year, Coach McNevin asked me to be the golf coach. And
Nice.
said, yeah.
Yeah. So did you coach boys and girls? Because the girls teams like a winter sport, and the boys are usually spring, right?
Yeah, there was. In fact, there was no girls teams.
Okay.
We didn't have a girls team at the Half Moon Bay nor at Oroville. At Oroville, I had Jennifer Miller, who's also a good basketball player for me. She was on the golf team. Pretty good golf. She was a starter.
Okay.
In the starting lineup, and then Half Moon Bay, we usually have maybe a girl on the team or so. Okay. But I'm just glad now that they got a full.
They have a full team.
It's really
It's
cool.
way bigger now. It's awesome.
It allows more kids to play, and I think the more opportunities for anything is going to be good for them.
Yeah, it's huge.
And I mean, this is we're kind of getting to the end of it here. But,
Yeah.
But what lessons from your life do you hope to pass on to your kids and grandkids and hope they carry forward?
I'm glad you asked that question. I think the most important, so there's two things I've always wanted for my kids. So I have my daughter, Half Moon Bay High School graduate. She's doing well in life. As her daughter, my grandchild, first one is great. A great husband. My son is teaching, which I love, and over in San Carlos, and he's a Half Moon Bay grad. And
It's following in your footsteps.
yeah. And for my stepdaughter, who's now graduating Chico, and my stepson, Jack, who's at the senior at the high school, I want, obviously physical, I want them to be healthy, and I want them to be content or happy with life, and be a good person. Those are the things I think value more than if they make a lot of money or success or those kind of things. That's okay. But if they feel like they feel good about the life they're living, they treat others well, and they have their health, that's what I want for them more than anything, and what I really wanted for all of our kids at the high school, I mean, or wherever I've been teaching or administrating. That, to me, that's the most important thing. I mean, all the other stuff it's great, and but health, happiness, and being a good, kind person, to me, that's the best.
That's awesome.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And he kind of answered your next. I don't know if you want to ask it or.
I was just gonna say. I mean, that's a very you answer, because I've always,
Yeah.
my parents have always said, like, you are definitely the most optimistic and empathetic person that we've ever met. Was there ever a time that, because Derek's now a PE teacher, was there ever a time that you were like, I wonder if he's gonna do something else?
No, I did wonder for a lot of time. I thought for a while there. So I have one of those Moyer Green split level houses. So when Haley went off to college, it was Derek and I. And I'd be upstairs and, taking care of, I'd get home after work and I got, okay, I'll make some dinner for us. And, he'd be downstairs playing video games and, and he's, especially in junior high. And then gets to high school and he's on the football team. He was on the JV basketball or freshman basketball team and then JV and then golf team. And he enjoyed it, but God, he's not hanging out. Like, I said, this might be it, I'll be 80 and he's like 55 and he's down there trying to win another video game. He's got his headset on, and then somewhere about his junior year, he started, hey, Dad, I'm gonna go out to the movies with friends, and started doing, going out. I go, Derek, what's the change? He goes, I don't know, Dad. All of a sudden, I'm popular. That was it.
Yeah, cool. That's awesome. Yeah. And this will be the last question, but what gives you the motivation to stay connected to the youth and the community after nearly 4 decades of teaching?
It's been my life. I mean, working with young people, and it's been such a gratifying thing. I've gained so much from it. So like right now, I'm involved with the Boys and Girls Club. I'm wearing our thing. I'm the vice president of the board of directors. That organization, I feel, is doing so much for kids here on the coast. Athletically, of course, we're paying for all the Cunha sports. We've installed brand new fields at Cunha. We've got a brand new baseball field up at the high school. There's the event center.
Brand new gym, basically.
Yeah, the event center, the new gym. There's so much going on there. And in addition to that, there's homework help for those. So many kids are getting support on their homework, on their academics. There's also a robotics team now. There's, different programs being run. So it's not just a one-trick pony. It's about bringing kids in, giving them that safety, giving them that security, giving them that support. We're looking to expand that program over the next number of years. We have just our Jill Jacobson retired a couple of years ago, just this year. Our last 6 years, she was the executive director, did amazing work. And I mean, I've known Jill for a long time. My son went to school with her twins, and then now Mark Newton, who's just a powerhouse, has come in, is committed to the coast. He is bringing new ideas, and I'm very, very excited. So that's one of the things I'm doing. A little bit, the coaching's a lot of fun, being connected with the kids out there. So those are some of the major things I've done. And also, if a school needs someone to come in and be like a principal for a short period of time, I'll do that if it fits.
Fun fact: Mark Newton was my quarterback coach since I was 8 years old.
Yeah, yeah. He's amazing. He's just so bright, and I mean, yes, he knows football, but he really understands how to teach. He's a former teacher. He's been now as executive director, but he still comes up and works with the football team. He has a lot of knowledge and a great background in it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for taking time out of your day to come hang out with us.
Yeah, thank you very much.
No, thank you for having me. It's just been a pleasure getting caught back up and and talking with all of you. This has been a lot of fun.
We might have to get out on the golf course.
Oh, I'd love to. Serious about that one.
Yeah, maybe we should see if we could do a little series because we want to golf with John Parsons too.
Yeah, we got a couple
guests
around.
So there's a couple people that were like, "Hey, we got to get out." So maybe we'll make a little YouTube series.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah, I play with John.
Yeah,
golfing with guests.
Golf. Yeah. So maybe all
right. He's pretty good. He's a real athlete.
He is an athlete.
He's an athlete.
Well, thank you guys for tuning in with us and getting to hear John Nazar's story. Mr. Nazar. All right.
See you in the recap.
Welcome back to the Between Shifts podcast. This is our recap for John Nazar.
Mr. Nazar.
Mr. Nazar.
Mr. Nazar, as we all knew him from the time we were, at least for me, in middle school. You missed him in middle school. You had him in high school, right?
I think we had him in middle school, though, but I can't remember.
Yeah, but what a great guy. Just the most positive, empathetic, great all-around dude. And it doesn't really matter what he did for a career. It was always going to be, he's just so good at being a human being.
Yep.
It's pretty incredible.
Yep.
So
honestly, one of my favorite things from that interview was him talking about how the different parks in San Francisco had like the park directors that organized all these sports and like because I don't know if there's not like, I don't know, like middle school sports or elementary sports, but whatever it was, like the fact that they had that in their community is so cool. And like they were getting driven around to play baseball, basketball, football, like all these things.
Pinky.
Playing pinky. It's like, that's I don't know. It's a super cool thing that I wish was more popular, but
what a crazy job it would be to be a park director too, like a city job.
Yeah.
where you get to
You just hang out
hang
at
out
the
at the park and make sure
just,
no one's like, no altercations.
and just expect that like a certain amount of kids is going to show up and want to participate in that.
Yeah.
These days, that would be so hard to get the participation.
Yeah.
Well, especially because all these families are putting their kids in, they're like 12 years old and they're paying 10 grand to be on a baseball team. Like it's,
yeah, that's true. Well, yeah. And I wonder, like, maybe because I was thinking for some reason, like, Pack Heights might be the biggest park team, right? But
yeah,
they could have been in other sanctioned events, right? Like, they might have been in, sports camp somewhere else where, like, the public park system might have been the kind of kids that weren't as affluent, maybe, and they were walking to the park. And
yeah,
it's such a cool program, though. But, I forgot what I was going to say again. Wasn't it?
Well, his teaching resume is pretty insane, and I mean, I'm not surprised that he comes from a father who was a teacher for 40 plus years. I mean, it checks out. You can only imagine he learned a lot from his dad and then only improved on that, and became the educator that he is. And I mean, his influence on the Coastside in not only education but administration is definitely known and felt. Yeah,
and the changes that schools must have been going through by the time he had gotten into administration with social media.
That's a crazy time to be starting in like no cell phones and teaching for years through that, and then being thrust into this, like, all of a sudden there's fights being recorded on people's phones, and then they're like able to see these fights,
immediately, right? It'd be on someone's story and they'd be able to see it in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Be like, oh, I didn't get to go, but I get to see it.
Yeah. It's a interesting time.
Yeah.
And I think, he handled that as best as he could, for sure.
Just learning as you go. And we didn't have Chromebooks when I was in school, and you guys ended up getting them probably your freshman and sophomore year.
Yeah.
Right. So we hand wrote everything, and I didn't have a computer at home. We just didn't have one. And so going to the library at like lunch or whatever, if you had to type something for English class, was so weird. And then now everyone's got Chromebooks, and he was a big part of that too, I believe.
Yeah. And I mean, it's the whole FFA stuff too, bringing that up. I mean, I'm bummed I didn't take more part in that. I guess at the time I was just, my family was kind of being pushed more towards like the, take AP classes and stuff like that. But insanely cool how that's gotten built up and advanced over the years.
Yeah, I was part of the redneck crew, and I didn't have a choice. Like, it was, and I actually didn't end up taking any of the ag classes, but it was like, that was the group I was hanging out with, because we were still doing 4-H and raising animals, bringing them to fair. And so, we were kind of tied in with like the FFA kids. But yeah, my parents also thought I was going to go places, so they didn't want me to do like ag science for some reason. They were like, oh no, this kid's going to do things, dude.
That's
I'm thinking, how cool would it be if we got like little short interviews on the golf course with these people that do golf and do want to.
It doesn't even need to be interviews. I just think playing around with the guys, record a hole or two of just small talk and golf. That'd be fun.
Maybe do 3 holes, and every hole we switch out cart cam. Pick 3 par 4s, and every time we get into the cart, we get someone gets to sit with John Parsons and chat. If you guys are still watching, let us know what you think, if that would be something that you guys would watch.
Yeah. How should we film our golf episodes?
Yeah. Or would anyone even watch it? Or would we not care? Would we just do it either way? Because it'd be fun.
I hope people don't watch me golf.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for listening. This is the Between Shifts podcast, signing off. Gavin went to open gym, so he left.
Yeah. 2 weeks in a row? No. When was he? He was missing a couple weeks back, but that's all right.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys in a couple weeks. Thanks for listening. See you next time.
Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Once again, we're brought to you by Bikeworks HMB, your one-stop shop for bike service, sales, and rentals in Half Moon Bay, California. Whether you're on the mountain, road, or low on battery, Bikeworks HMB has your back. If you enjoyed this episode and would like to help support this podcast, please feel free to reach out to us at betweenshiftspod@gmail.com. The link will be in the description. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. GT signing off.